I was a waitress at Marie Callender's for 2 months, and I was a terrible waitress, and they let me go. Fired from Marie Callender's.
I worked from 5 at night to 5 in the morning at a restaurant called the Mad Hatter when I was at Juilliard to make money during the summer. And around 3 in the morning, you start to get a little punchy.
I was a cashier at Burger King. With like the hat and the whole thing and the smelling of the fries and the whole thing.
Sample sales.
I was a singing waitress at Waterfront Crab House in Long Island City. The trays were about 1,000 pounds with like bouillabaisse and like big, so you're like, and you'd be like serving somebody and they'd be like, get up and sing, or you'd be singing and they'd say, I need more coffee. That's it.
The worst was 7-Eleven. That was definitely. But I love their pizza and their big gulps.
I once wore a backpack full of ocean spray at the College World Series, and I had to ask people, do you want to try the new ocean spray? No one did.
You know what I wish you were wearing right now for this cocktail party?
What?
A backpack full of ocean spray.
Oh, I know.
At one point, I sort of had been given the task of clearing out the storage, and the owner of the company was a hoarder. And so for about 6 months, I just cleared out the storage, and there were very many like mysterious, sometimes maybe sexual things. There were like 9 Christmas tree stands.
A bartender at the bowling alley on 42nd Street.
I was filing the what do you call it? Discipline reports for Bebe.
I was a fitting room attendant at Barney's Co-op.
I was a deckhand on a windjammer schooner, and my job, as probably the lowest deckhand on the ladder, was to unclog the ship's heads.
I worked at a call center, and I remember specifically having a 15-minute break and going into the break room and looking out the window thinking, if I jumped, I'd survive, and I could limp to the train. That's bad. That's a very bad job.
And then you became an actress.
And then I got hired as an actress.
Delivering brownies for, I wasn't actually, the temp agency didn't have jobs for me, but they hired me to deliver Christmas brownies to all of their clients all over Manhattan.
I was doing this teaching artist thing, but it was like out in Queens. So I literally had to take a train, a bus, then another bus, and then like take an Uber. So by the time I paid to get there, it was like I was spending money for this job, and then I got this job in Boston, and I was like, bye!
I was a camp counselor at my Jewish summer camp, Camp Ramon, California, in Ojai, woohoo, shout out. And I had a bunk full of 10-year-old boys for 2 months, and dealt with everything from wetting the bed to profanity to understanding sexuality to everything under the sun. It was not easy, but it taught me a lot.
When I first got to the city, Andrew Keenan Bolger and I, who is one of our friends from college, we worked at For Kids Only, which was the babysitting part of the gym at Reebok Sports Club. And so these really wealthy parents would bring their kids and just leave them with us for like 4 hours. And so we would like teach them show tunes, and by the time that the kids would leave, they would be singing like Godspell songs and they didn't know why.
I basically sold neon green Speedos to older men who were walking up 8th Avenue.
I had to sell long-distance phone packages for a department store called the Hudson's Bay Company in Canada, and people didn't know what I was doing. I was wandering around like amongst the socks and the jewelry and trying to be like, do you want a phone plan? And the worst part was there was this tall blonde guy who kept distracting me on my shift, and I got fired.
Was that him?
I worked for a stint at Bloomingdale's by mail. So it was like mail order, taking orders for the Bloomingdale's catalog. But the best moment actually was when Reba McEntire actually called to order a pantsuit.
And you sold it to her?
Yes, of course.
I had to clean out these sewage tanks at the Findlay Country Club during the summer. It was a good time.
I dressed for weeks and weeks as a giant chicken and passed out flyers for Rock-a-Doodle, the epic, famous animated children's film that I don't think you've heard of.
I had someone ask for a mojito, and I mixed it when I was in the weeds, and she went, blech, too much mint.
And that person was Bernadette Peters.
That's right.
So I was hired when I was 16 for my first real job to work in an ice cream parlor. It was a really cute ice cream parlor, and you got a little apron. And I showed up for my first day, and it was pretty much just a nightmare of math and melted ice cream. and I was asked not to return on day 2.
Aren't you glad you became an actress?
It's pretty much the only thing I can do, Richie.